Alright, Mr. Golovkin is backtracking now. After the IBF stripped him of their belt, and that was inevitable, by the way. Uh, Deverenyachenko had been the mandatory challenger for the IBF title for a while. Everybody knows that the IBF are sticklers when it comes to mandatories. Everybody knows that they're very strict and they enforce that stuff. Golovkin knew that. His promoter knew that, so there's no point in complaining now when everybody knows the way the IBF behaves. And also, I do have to point out that two of Golovkin's world titles were stripped from other people, correct? The WBC title that Golovkin has, that was stripped from Canelo. Golovkin didn't win that in the ring. And the WBA belt, that was stripped from someone else, wasn't it? Didn't Golovkin fight for a vacant belt? Or no, was he fighting for the regular belt? Yeah, Golovkin had the regular belt first, and then somehow he became super champion. And even when he fought for the regular belt, that was a vacant belt or something, wasn't it? So it must have been stripped from someone else. So again, it's people complaining about Golovkin getting stripped. They weren't complaining when other fighters got stripped in order for Golovkin to have WBA and WBC belts. So let's have a little bit of objectivity here, people. Let's not be hypocritical. Uh, and yeah, I've got no issue with Golovkin getting stripped because what, does nobody care about Deverenyachenko? Does he not have any rights as a mandatory challenger? You know? Of course he's got rights. Why does nobody care about him? They're talking about him fighting Danny Jacobs for that IBF strap. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, anyway, back to this. Golovkin's promoter is now saying they're willing to go 55-45 because before they were being very bullish about 50-50 or no fight, and now all of a sudden they're backtracking and they're saying, oh, actually, now that we've been stripped, we'll go 55-45 in your favor. That makes you the A side. I thought, again, all these Golovkin fans, I thought he said Golovkin wasn't about the money. I thought he was all about principles, and if you don't get 50-50, he's not taking the fight. He is about the money. Come on now. And apparently, I don't know if this is true, but what does this say here? Golovkin is willing to drop his demands for an even split. Yeah, so 55-45. But apparently, Canelo and Golden Boy have already offered Golovkin 60-40. 60% in Canelo's favor, 40 in Golovkin's favor, which is an increase from what they were offering him before, which I think was something like 35-65. So, both sides have moved a little bit. And that's cool, that's normal. That's a negotiation. You're gonna move. I'm not so much criticizing Golovkin and his team. I'm more criticizing the fans for believing all this, acting like Golovkin's some kind of choir boy and he don't care nothing about money and it's all about legacy for him and he's not going to compromise himself. He's not going to give an inch to Canelo because Canelo don't deserve it. Like, come on, people don't have realistic views about the fighters that they like, man. It's prize fighting. Golovkin cares about money. Of course he does. Yeah, of course he does. So we'll see how it goes. I'm still hopeful that this fight happens because I think we need to put a line under this. Even though there isn't all the belts on the line like there was before, there's one belt less. I just think we need to put a line under this situation and find out once and for all who's the better man. I do think we need to do that. So, yeah, we'll see what happens here. Drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. Because if the fight don't happen, we might get Canelo versus somebody else. Maybe it'll be Canelo versus Deverenyachenko for the IBF belt, or Canelo versus Saunders, or Jacobs versus Deverenyachenko, or, endless different combinations you could come up with. Maybe Golovkin will go off and fight Murata in Japan. Who knows? Who knows? I would rather these two fight each other, get a definitive winner out of the two, and then go fight whoever. And Golovkin's got a lot of problems right now. There's a lot of pressure on him because there's the Canelo fight. He's already been stripped. That's an issue. And it seemed as though he wasn't. I saw an interview of Abel Sanchez, and Abel Sanchez made it pretty clear that Golovkin was willing to let go of belts. So he don't really care about belts, being undisputed and all that kind of stuff. I mean, he cares, but he don't care that much. He cares more about the money than the belts. Yeah, that's another thing that so many of the Golovkin fans just don't seem to understand. They seem to think the guy cares more about the belts and being undisputed than he does about money. No, he don't. He cares more about money than the belts, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Um, but his dream of becoming undisputed middleweight champion, I think that's gone now. That's gone. So we'll see what happens here, people. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I did have something else to say about that Golovkin situation, but it slipped my mind. But, you know, all the best to both fighters, man. They're both good fighters. I both enjoyed seeing their careers. Obviously, Canelo's got this black mark over him now because of the failed PED test, so he does need to have some redemption in the eyes of some fans, although the Canelo diehards are not really going to care about that. You know, some people like Canelo is not going to be able to sell no pay-per-views anymore. He's not going to sell out no stadiums no more or no arenas anymore because of this whole PED thing. I don't think people understand how fanatical a lot of the Mexican Canelo fans are and how many of them there are. People sometimes judge public mood by what they see on the internet, on websites like this, YouTube, etc. And sometimes that can be accurate, but when you're dealing with a cash cow superstar crossover fighter like Canelo, the vast majority of their fans are casual fans, and casual fans don't tend to go on YouTube that much and leave comments. The people who spend their time leaving comments on YouTube videos tend to be the more hardcore fans. There are some casuals, obviously, but the ones who leave comments on videos on a regular basis, they tend to be the hardcore lot, like most of you lot, not so much the casuals, yeah? Or sometimes casuals who are becoming hardcore spend a lot of time on the internet, on YouTube, leaving comments and getting into discussions, but the majority of fans of superstar fighters like Canelo, like Joshua, etc., they're casuals. They're super casuals. Yeah? So most of them are not even leaving no comments on YouTube videos and telling you their opinion about certain fights. So just because you saw a couple Mexicans on a YouTube video saying they don't like Canelo no more, trust me, that does not constitute the majority of Mexico. That is not an indication of how the majority of Mexican fans feel. Believe you me, Canelo's not going to have no problem selling out arenas and doing all that kind of stuff and doing pay-per-views. He ain't going to have no problems. No problems. If he was to fight Danny Jacobs, pay-per-view, straight. Ain't no problem selling out whatever venue he fights at against Jacobs. But obviously they prefer to see the Golovkin because they know the history behind it and the first fight was a good fight. But even if that don't come off, listen, the fans of Canelo, the diehards, the casuals, they're just gonna believe Canelo's side of the story regardless. This is how fanboys behave, you know. Wilder fanboys do it, Joshua fanboys do it, fanboys of any fighter do it. They ride or die for their fighter, and as far as they're concerned, their fighter can walk on water and they can do no wrong. And they're always gonna see the story in their fighter's favor. You know, 99.9% of the time. So that's just what it is. Let me know how you feel about this situation in the comment section below, people. It's happening. I'm out.